Hi there, Martin here, and a very warm welcome to this, the first video that I have made using the new lathe. And in fact this is the very first piece that I have turned on the lathe, and also today is the first time that I have ever used an airbrush, on a piece. Everything else I've done on an airbrush is on this piece of 18mm ply, or 3/4 inch ply. So yeah, today's been a day of firsts and it's been lovely. I've really enjoyed turning this piece today. It's been weeks since I've turned anything proper, as it were. If you have subscribed recently, thank you very much indeed. Your subscriptions and your comments mean an awful lot to me. So yeah, keep them coming and I always reply. It may take me a couple of weeks, but I'll get back to you. And today's piece is this. A 10-inch Sycamore miniature platter that's been airbrushed, textured and gold gilted, and then finished with my own oil and wax mix that I call Hampshire Sheen. And here it is. I am chuffed to bits with how this has come out. I've never done anything quite so opulent before, and I don't think I've overdone it. If you think I've overdone it, tell me. If you think I've underdone it, tell me, and if you've got any other comments or criticisms, then please do let me know in the comments section below. So yes, without further ado, thank you for watching, and this is how I turned... I've forgotten what I called it. Anyway, this is how I turned this piece. So, on the new lathe, I have a piece of 10-inch Sycamore that's about, I say, 1.5 inches thick. Something like that, and I'm going to turn a decorated and textured platter out of it, but I'm going to hammer the rim, which is going to be on this side. I'm going to hammer the rim at the top of the wall, which is going to be here, and I need to do that before I shape the outside of the platter, because when I hammer the outside of the platter, if the underside is shaped already, it's not going to sit flat on a surface and it's going to bounce around all over the place. So I need to true up this side. I'm not going to worry about finishing it. I just need to turn it, true it up so it's nice and flat, and then I can texturise it, which is why I don't need to sand it, because I'm going to be banging it with a hammer. And then I'll do the outside. So I'm going to true up, I'm going to get it round first, true this face, and then texturise it. Now I don't need to go too far in on this piece because the rim isn't going to be particularly thick, so I'm just scraping the piece to make sure it's flat, which it isn't yet. I'm standing at a little bit of a funny angle to allow the camera to see what I'm doing, so I can't quite get the tool presented how I want to. That feels good. Now, to ensure I get the piece back in the chuck exactly where I left it or took it off, I've left a pencil mark here, opposite this pair of jaws. So when I'm going to leave the chuck exactly as it is. There's the locking screw, the locking nut chuck key thing there. So when I put the piece back on the lathe, I'm going to line this mark up with those two, with that gap there. So I'll know it's in exactly the same place as when I took it off. With the piece off the lathe, I've found a large Allen wrench, which I'm going to see what kind of indentation it makes on the wood. So I'm not going to do anything on the rim itself just yet. I'm just going to test it out on the piece I haven't turned, and that's okay. I might have to find some other bits. Let's try it. No, it's not going in deep enough. I'm going to have to find something else. Okay, right. I've decided I'm just going to go around the outside with the claw part of the hammer. Just to make random marks in the wood. And this wood is still a little bit green. It's been drying for about 3 months, something like that. So this might take a while, so when I've done it, I'll come back and show you. I'm now using a screwdriver. You can see now why I'm doing the texture to the rim now rather than when I've shaped the bottom of the platter, because if I'd shaped the bottom of the platter like so, then every time I hit it, it's going to flip up. So do it when it's flat is what my advice would be. Now, the initial cut that I made to flatten off the rim, or the rim of the platter, is actually wider than I want. So when I come to turn the inside of the platter, I can actually cut back into the texture to create a nice cut between the two. Back on the lathe, I'm going to turn a gentle curve from about here-ish, I think, up to, I don't know yet. I'm going to see what the wood wants to do. But when I put it back on the chuck, I made sure that I lined up the mark that I left on the unfinished face with the gap in the jaws, so I know that it runs true. That's come out really nice. I'm happy with that. Right, I'm going to sand the outside now down to 400 grit, like I normally do, and then I'm going to get the airbrush out. I'm really excited about that bit. Here's a really good example of what I was saying last week in my turning video, or sanding video, of how you can keep, or how you know that your transition from, say, a wall turn is nice and crisp, because I don't know if you can see there particularly well, but there's a fine line of dust. See, I can just take it off. There's a fine line of dust, so from this piece of the foot, from the bottom of the foot to like the wall of the foot, there's a nice line, because there's a single line there of dust. I hope you can see that okay. And again, from this part of the wall to this part of the wall, there's a fine line of dust. So I know that the transition from here to here is nice and clean. Right, I've got the airbrush set up, and you might be able to hear the compressor chugging away beneath the lathe. This is a gravity feed brush, and the kit that I've got also comes with a siphon feed brush, but I'll show you that another day. Really easy to use. I've not used it before, not in anger anyway, or certainly not on a piece, so this is a first go. And you press down for air, and then you pull back on the trigger here, to release the stain. I'm going to use black, I think, black up to about here-ish, and then out to yellow, and then black again on the rim as we go round. But I'll have to see. I've got no idea. I'm not planning this at all. Okay, I have the stain. I've got black stain in here, and I've got the lathe running nice and slowly. I've got no idea how fast I should be running, so hold it nice and steady. Down for air and pull back. Okay, might speed the lathe up a bit. That looks quite nice. Right, I'm going to work on this side now. Speed the lathe up a bit more. As I get towards the end of where I want the gradient to be, I'm pulling the pen or pulling the airbrush away, which creates a wider spray pattern and therefore a thinner coat. Clean the cup, and I've now put yellow stain in there. I've got a board down here that I'm just going to check that no black's coming out with it, to make sure that I had actually cleaned the cup properly. Turn the lathe back on, and I think I'm going to put a little bit in the middle here. Okay, right, now I'm going to do the outside. Slow the lathe down. I think wearing a respirator is probably a good idea for this. There. I'm going to put a little bit more in the middle, I think. Okay, so I decided I didn't like it. A bit too black and not quite enough yellow. So I've sanded it back to 400, which has left some of the black in it, which is fine. But I've also got a clean transition here between this part and this part. So I'm going to have a go at putting a little line of red in there, doing more yellow on the rim or this part of the wall, and possibly red in there. Again, I don't know. So we will see how we get on. So I think I'm going to start with the red in here, and then I'll think about the rest of it. Right, here we go with the yellow again. Because I've filled it up with yellow now, I can't put the cap back on because I didn't clean the cap because I'm a wally. So let's give the lathe a turn. So I've got to be careful now that I don't tip the cap up. Oh yes, that's much nicer. That's much nicer. Yep, I'm happy with that. Right, I'm going to leave that as it is. It's going to dry, and then I'll come back when it's time to put the oil on. Yep, I've decided to put a wax on the bottom, and I've decided, unsurprisingly, to use my own mix. That's what I made up this morning. So just get some of that on the towel. I'm not going to put any in the very centre. That needs to be going a little bit quicker than that. And then when it's dry, get a new piece of towel, crank up the lathe speed and give it a puff. And there we are. That is the outside of the piece done. I'm going to flip it over in the chuck and do the rim next. Okay, reversed in the chuck, everything's running nice and true, and I'm armed with a Dremel and a steel brush. Because although I like the texture around here, I want to see if I can rough it up a little bit more. Again, a technique I've never tried before, so I think I'm going to set the lathe going and then set the Dremel off and see what happens, really, I suppose. Right, let's see. That's a little disappointing, shall we say. Right, I'm going to change the tip. I'm going to change this and see if another one does any better. Okay, here is a milling and carving bit. High-speed steel, which should hopefully do something to the rim. So I'm going to keep the lathe running pretty slow, like so. Spin this. That's a bit better. Yeah, that's a bit better. Right, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it. Okay, let's have a look at the texture it's produced. There we are. It's pretty roughed up. As an experiment, I think it's gone okay. So I'm going to get some shavings now. Let's do that now. Get some shavings and just burnish off the sawn wood. Let's have a look at that. Not entirely sure I like it, but I'll do the airbrushing and then I'll make a final decision as to what I'm going to do with it. And there we go. I'm ready to turn the inside of the piece now, and I just want to make the wall about. Let's speed that up a bit. I want to make the wall about that big. So I'm going to turn this. So as I did before, I've got the Dremel with a tip on. The lathe's running pretty slow. Yeah, okay. Right, let's burnish that off. Let's have a look. Well, it's interesting. I'll give myself that. Right, I'm gonna sand it now, and I'm just gonna sand from here to the rim, down to 400. Okay, right. That's the inside of the bowl now sanded down to 400 grit, and with the boss in the centre here, I've added a separate raised ring just here. I think you can see that, which is going to have something done to it. So yellow, colour-wise, yellow is going to come from here down to about here, and then into red, and then into black. With the airbrush, I'm hoping, and I'm going to do the black last. So I'm going to do the yellow first, and then I'm going to do the black last, because if I get any yellow or red on the boss here, it doesn't matter if I cover it up with black. Okay, so here's the yellow going into the brush. Make sure I've got enough, that'll do. Put that over there. And put the cap on. Put the cap on the pot. Do a little test spray down here. That looks okay. Start the lathe, and remember I need it to go fairly quick. And I'm going to do over this side, so I'll just move the camera. There we go. Press down for air, and then pull back on the trigger for the paint, for the stain rather. And that's looking good. Yep, I'm happy with that. Now I need to do red. Now what I want to do with this bit, where's my pencil gone? Oh well, is go in here and then blend out. Rather nice. Now I'm toying with the idea of putting a red, just a little bead around at the top. It's a very fine one. Yeah, I like that. A tiny bit more around the rim, I think. Right, I've got the black now, but I don't mind too much if I come out over the belt or over the ring here, because I'm going to be doing something else with that. So let's get the lathe spinning. Because I've got texture, I want to go fairly square on, I think. Direction. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Right, next step, let it dry. Now then, right, now that it's all pretty much dry, I can get the Danish oil on it. like so. And then round the outside, I need to do it with the lathe stationary to get it into the texture. There, that's been suitably buffed. I'm happy with that. And now I need to get some gold gilt onto this bit and also onto the shoulder bit there. Got some of the Compiègne Liberon gold gilt cream here, and I've got some on a paper towel. So, and I don't want to cover the boss with gold gilt, just the raised surfaces. So when I spin the lathe, I'm just going to hold the piece over the wood and barely touch the surface with the gilt. At least that's the plan. Let's have a look. That's actually come out quite nice. I'm surprised. Right, let's get a little bit more just to do this edge. And I'm using a flat part of the paper, flattish part of the paper towel, to apply the cream. So it almost goes on like a scraper's doing it. I am impressed. Wow. Gosh. What looks like fairly untidy texturing has actually come out really quite nice. So, a thicker piece of the paper here. Look. Oh, I'm quite impressed with that. That's rather exciting. And I'm going to leave it there, I think. Put the gold gilt away before I get too carried away with it. And there's just a little bit. And there we go. We're finished. I think I'm going to call this piece Golden Fire because it's gold and it looks a bit like fire. Kind of obvious, but it sounds good, and that's all I can think of at the moment. So thank you very much indeed for watching. I hope you found the video entertaining, useful and inspirational. If you haven't subscribed yet, then please do so. I normally post 1 or 2 videos a week, one on a Friday, which charts my journey from becoming a keen novice woodturner to a full-time woodturner. And also, hopefully, at least once a week I publish a video about finishing a piece, or maybe even turning a piece from start to finish. So, yeah, thank you very much indeed for watching, and I will see you again for Turner's Journey. Bye for now.